Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum, TEIF, and our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Series is The Emerging Lawyer, and theme is Get Ready to Unpack Intellectual Property Rights. So we have with us Anand Kumar, Senior Associate and IP Attorney at Saikrishna Associates. Anand's journey in the realm of intellectual property law has been marked by significant achievements and a keen understanding of trademark, copyrights, and design law. With years of experience in handling both contentious and non-contentious IP matters, Anand brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. So, friends, let's welcome Anand to today's coffee conversation. It will be an interesting conversation. There is another aspect also. From his academic journey from Hindu College to the Faculty of Law, DU. So, IP, teaching, so many things we have in today's conversation. So, welcome once again, Anand.
And thank you so much, sir.
Let me explain the format. You're aware of the two rounds, the professional and the personal. There is a surprise, the fun round, the rapid fire round. Okay. So, we take our inspiration from Coffee with Karan.
Definitely.
So I'm Karan Johar. So friends, I'm Amir Virani here, host of Coffee Conversation and a legal tech evangelist and an author of 15 ebooks. So my first question for you, for your professional round, Anand, what inspired you to pursue a career in intellectual property law?
Sir, your first question is really very difficult question, but I try to answer it in a most efficient manner. Let me be very honest with you. I would not try to manipulate the answer. So, to answer your question that how did I come onto the IP as my career choice, I would take a little bit. I'll take a step back and try to first explain like how did I come onto the law itself first.
Yeah.
So, like I completed my graduation 2014 from Hindu College. I graduated from there, and then I was like preparing for the competitive exams, like many of my other friends who were already doing that. They were preparing for civil services and like many other services. So during my 1 year of competitive exams preparation, I managed to get also to the competitive exams, one of called CDS, that is Combined Defense Service, and I appeared before the SSB board for the 5 days. But unfortunately, on fifth day that I got conferenced out. And on my return to Delhi, I started discussing with my family and friends that what other options that I could explore. And during that discussion that I met with my one of friends who was also my batchmate in Hindu College. He was already pursuing the LLB from DU law faculty, and then he advised me that why don't I look at the law as also one of the promising career. And during that time only that I also talked to my father. He's also a lawyer there, so he also advised me that yes, I should look at it as one of the promising career option. And thereon I thought that yes, I should like look at it also. The law as a career is very different, is looked at very different by different people. So till that time I didn't know that it may turn out to be such a promising career for me as well. So, but then I decided to actually took the admission in the DU law faculty, and because I was already preparing for the competitive exam, so it was relatively easier for me to get into that faculty. So I secured my place. I took the admission, and my first semester I was having the subjects like the IPC, CRPC, family law, contract, and when I was reading all those subjects, it was very enriching and interesting to me because I was able to relate all those things around me happening. One of my professor always used to tell me that law is all about in air around us. You do anything, you don't do anything, the law will come into the picture. So anything that you do, which is prohibited by the law will take its course. And anything you don't do, which is actually mandated by the law will take its course. So that's very real fact that the law is around us in air. So that was very interesting thing, and that actually made me to take this course as to be very serious. And I put my all the sincerest effort in all the 3 years of my study in the law college. I completed my law course in 2018, and I was out in the market and I was looking for the job because meeting the expenses was very important in the cities like Delhi. So I could say that the IP happened to me by chance rather than much of the choice, because I was in need of the job. I happened to be at one of the place. It was an IP boutique law firm. It was a very small law firm, but they have a 90, more than 99% of the work related to IP. So they offered me job. They told me that this is will be the, I mean, your job profile. This is how you will be doing. And I didn't have much of the choice. But then I thought that I'll try to excel in it, whatever I have in my plate. So when I started actually working on the IP matters, it actually started enriching me, exciting me, because for the fact when you read the law as a student and when you actually make the practical application of the law, it's very different. When you start using your law to resolve the issues of your client, it gives you kind of encouragement. It gives you kind of confidence that you are able to make the use of law for resolving somebody's issues. So that was very interesting and that was very encouraging for me. And but when you come into the legal profession, you have very new challenges as well, and I was very fresher at that point of time. So the legal drafting was one of the important aspects that I was not aware of, and that is very important aspect of any legal profession. So on one hand, I was trying to freshen up my legal understanding, my legal knowledge. I was trying to build upon that by reading the case laws, by reading the commentaries and other things. I devised my own strategy and way to learn the legal drafting. And I would say, how did I do that? So I started reading the drafts and the pleadings that were being filed by the notable IP law firms at that point of time. So I tried to learn out of those draftings instead of my own. And because it was a small law firm, there was not much of the people who could guide me, monitor me, and can supervise me on a day-to-day basis. So I had a chances of doing committing the mistakes as well. But I could not afford that because ultimately the loss would be going to the client, and you cannot, as a lawyer, try to do that. So to just sharpen my understanding, sharpen my knowledge and legal drafting, I started learning out of the IP pleadings that were being filed by the notable IP law firms. And you can see that I made a remarkable difference. It made a remarkable difference in terms of my learning in the initial years. And I must say that this was a great experience learning out of those drafts. And in nutshell, I could say that I had my journey from reading and learning from the IP drafts of those notable IP law firms to now drafting for those IP tier one law firms.
Wow, that was an interesting journey. So now, Anand, how do you ensure comprehensive protection for clients' IP portfolio across diverse industries?
This is again very interesting thing to answer. I had an experience and opportunity of working for one of the various notable clients across the world, I would say. And I understand the importance of having the comprehensive protection of anybody's IP portfolio. And you have very rightly used the term comprehensive protection. Now, I would like to explain this term, what is the comprehensive protection, according to my understanding at least. Uh, Comprehensive protection, in my understanding, has a two-pronged approach. What does that mean? It means that you don't only need to enforce your rights, but also you need to register the IPs under the notable and the respective IP laws. Because registration is also one of the important segment of the comprehensive protection. What does that mean? Many of the people say that copyright registration is not important. I completely agree with that, and the various court cases has affirmed that fact. The Bombay High Court has confirmed that the registration of the copyright is not that important. Mandatory. It's not mandatory rather, but you have various, benefits of getting the registration than not having the registration. And and for copyright, I would say that once you have the registration, you have the advantage in the sense that you have a prima facie evidence of showing that this is already that my work which is already registered, it has already been recognized by the IP office, and you don't have much of the burden on you to prove your ownership on the mark on the work. You don't need to give a lot of documents to show that how you are the owner of that particular work before the court, before when you're enforcing your rights, when you are protecting your rights. Similarly, in case of trademark, while unregistered trademarks are also being enforced and also being protected, but compared to unregistered mark, if you get your marks registered, you have another important benefits of enforcing rights by way of infringement, which is not otherwise available for unregistered trademarks. And you have a more of the burden on you to prove the passing of, which is because that's a very common law remedy, and that requires a lot of efforts, a lot of documentation to prove that you have developed the goodwill, reputation, etc., etc. So I believe that the protection requires the registration also, and that's very important segment. Now coming on to the enforcement, because that's also a very important point. And insofar as my own IP clients portfolio is concerned, what kind of strategies that I employ, I would like to put light onto that. So, for example, if I have to look at my own client's portfolio, I tries to locate that what are the IPs that they have newly created, because that's also important point. You need to advise on them that how can they protect those IPs under different laws. There may be the new IPs which can be protected under the trademark law. There may be new IPs which can be protected under the copyright law, designs law, patents law. So that's important thing. Secondly, you need to understand the what are the gaps that your client portfolio have, which they don't understand to be filled, but you need to advise on that. So, for example, I would just give one of the examples. Say, for example, you have a logo mark, but you have only get registration for the word element of that. You have not got registration for the artistic element of that. So that's one thing that you can always protect, because if somebody tomorrow copies your artistic work, you will not be able to enforce your rights just merely because of on your basis of the literal element. Secondly, the copyright protection gives you the rights across all the classes of the goods and services, not only in the classes of goods and services that you have mark is registered. So that's how it's very important that you understand the gap and you tries to protect on those areas. Then enforcement also is very important. Enforcement means that you need to enforce your rights against any third party infringers. Whosoever is trying to violate your rights, trying to dilute your exclusivity, because your brand value is already created. If you don't enforce your rights, that brand value will get started diluted over a period of time. So if Bisleri is one brand of one particular water, distilled water, and everybody is trying to copy that, and you're not enforcing rights, then tomorrow you will not be, the consumer will not be able to identify you, because now every entire market is mushroomed with this that kind of the copyright violated copyright things. So that's the important element that I would say. Then customer is again very important. Nowadays, the business is going global. And in India, we have many of the brands which are only imported, not being manufactured. So at the stage of importing, the counterfeit is one of the important menace that is needed to be tackled. Now, there's a recent report by the custom offices and the IP enforcement offices which says that the most number of the counterfeit products that are being imported in India are the watches, the jewelry, medicines, the cosmetic items. So it's important that you get your IP recorded with the IP custom officials, because they will be the right person to intercept such kind of the counterfeit products. So that's the one of the again important area where you can try to protect your client's IP rights comprehensively. So these are the measures that I always look at for my clients, and I also advise the other people also to understand the values of the IP and protect them comprehensively.
Wow.
Thank you.
So now, Anand, what role do you think digital transformation plays in the future of intellectual property law?
Digital transformation is definitely is a very important role to play in terms of the evolution of the IP law per se. And of course, over a period of time, the IP law has actually evolved much in terms of tackling with this kind of the new challenges and new issues. For example, I would say that now we are living in the age of the internet, the era of the technology where the commerce has come as to be on the online platform. The buying and selling happens on the online platform. So these e-commerce websites are playing very important role in terms of the transactions of the goods and services. And it's important to understand that how can somebody enforce and protect their IPs on the online platform. So like the platforms like the Amazon, Flipkart, there are many of the products which are listed, and many of them may be also violative of the other trademarks, copyrights, and all that thing. But you need to understand that how should we protect those rights. Now, many of the time these platforms take a kind of the excuse that they are the intermediaries. They don't have the role to play in terms of the exchange of these products and items. They don't have the role to play that what kind of the IP that they're violating, because it's the call of the listing person, the call of the list sellers that they're making. And they always go and say that we are the intermediaries. We can't do anything with that. So now, in order to understand and in order to tackle such kind of issues, under Consumer Protection Act, we have the now called e-commerce intermediary guidelines. These guidelines actually put a kind of, a kind of state some standards on the platforms to check such kind of the IP violations to stop. So now they have come up with a kind of IP violation policies where they are indicating that if any such kind of the violation happens and if that's being reported by the owner, I'll take down those kind of the listings. And they are actually doing that. So that's one of the progress that is happening. Now we have another thing that is happening is in the social media. Now everybody is trying to, indiscriminately exploit the contents and the artistic elements and whatever the work that are being generated by the owner and creators. They try to exploit that. So that's also important thing that has to be tackled. Then personality rights has come up as one of the important facts now, because now recently the Bombay High Court, Delhi High Court have started protecting the personality rights of the celebrities. Like we have the judgments from the courts where the Anil Kapoor personality rights has been protected, Amitabh Bachchan's personality right has been protected. So you cannot merchandise his images, his voice, his product, his style of the things to just exploit his personality. So these are the important elements that is being taken place. AI is another important fact that has to be looked at. Now the AI is creating the art, the new kind of the copyright elements, and the question is still open. It's a very hot topic that who will be the owner of that particular copyright that has been created or the work that has been created by the AI. So these are the areas that has come a lot, has progressed a lot, but now still a lot of things to be, addressed and has to be tackled.
Beautifully explained. Now, what is a contentious and non-contentious matter? Can you briefly explain both and with examples?
So in a lawyers and more so like as an IP lawyer, we are always like tackling this kind of the matters which are broadly categorized in contentious and non-contentious matters. So basically, contentious matters are those matters where you need where the courts are actually involved or the tribunals are involved, where the two parties are contesting on a IP issues. While I'm saying that my rights has been violated, other side is saying no, it's not your violation, and then some third entity, I mean not entity, but basically the courts or the tribunal has to come to decide onto those matters. So that are the contentious matters where the court proceedings and court laws etc. are involved, timelines are involved. On the other, non-contentious basically on the advisory side that we are talking about, where we need to take a kind of pre litigation stages where we tries to advise on the mitigation risk stages, and we tries to advise the client that what kind of the steps that they can take so that any potential kind of risk can be avoided and can be avoided.
Wow. Okay, now Anand, what strategies do you employ to keep yourself updated with the constantly evolving field of IPR?
In my understanding, as a lawyer, you are always supposed to learn, and you this learning has to go on till the time that you are in the practice. So it's important that we keep on ourselves abreast with the whatever the development that is going on in the field of IP, and to address that, I try myself to remain abreast with whatever the development happens. For that, I try to read whatever the judicial development that has happened in the recent times. I try to read the judicial decisions that is coming up from the courts. I try to read the new amendments in the law. I try to read the articles and blogs that are being that are available on the platforms. I try to connect with the IP experts who are into the field. I try to interact with them, because then that gives you a kind of insights that what are the new challenges, what are the new avenues that has come up where you need to think upon. And for that, I believe also that the discussion is very important with your peers, with your seniors, because when you go into the discussion, then you will realize that there are new things also which you were not able to look at it, because the law is all about interpretation. You always have the two sides. You cannot have the one ready-made and the straight jacket answers to everything. So whenever you go to that, when you dive deep into the discussion, then you realize that this is also one of the angles that I was not factoring in or I was not able to focus upon. So that's important thing, and I'm very fortunate that I have the kind of the seniors and the mentors around me and the colleagues who are receptive of such kind of the discussion, and that's very enriching for me also to understand and learn. And I must add the fact that unlike other social media, the LinkedIn is one of the important resource and source, I believe, in terms of having the sea of the knowledge, sea of the information there. You have the people connected from around the world. You get to know about the development that is going around the world in other jurisdictions under IP laws. So that's how I try to keep myself abreast with IP.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So now, who has been your role model, or who do you follow or who has influenced you from the IP law field?
Uh, it's very difficult to say that any one name because personally, in my understanding, I get most inspired by anybody who is around me who is most honest, hardworking, and dedicated to their work. And I have, I'm very fortunate that I have a bunch of people around me like that who are very passionate about the work, who are very sincere about the work, hardworking, and that inspire me to push my boundaries forward. I keep on putting more and more of the hard work because of the inspiration that I draw out of them. In fact, my wife is a IP counsel with the Clarivet, and she's very hardworking. She's very passionate about the IP as well. She does a lot of efforts in many of the manners. So she's also one of the inspiration for me. I draw a lot of inspiration out of her also because she manages a lot of things at the household level as well as the professional level. So that's very important to learn out of her.
Wow. So uh, I'll I'm getting inspired to ask that question, but I'll go have a question in the personal round.
Yeah, yeah,
But
definitely. I will.
because I'm going to cover this, but thank you
Yeah,
for that. So you
thank
have
you.
someone whom you can brainstorming. That's
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Okay. Now let's go to your role as a senior associate at Saikrishna Associates. Sorry, Saikrishna and Associates. How has they shaped your approach to handling complex IP cases?
Uh, when you grow in a professional journey, in my understanding, you get to have or you tend to have more of the responsibilities, but that definitely comes with a naturally a lot of accountability as well. Uh, Insofar as my journey as a senior associate at Saikrishna Associate is concerned, I've had a very great experience, enriching experience since the time that I've been promoted as a senior associate, like 2 years back in the firm. And since then, I have seen a very different approach in myself than being a lawyer 2 years back. I'll give you the examples also for that because when you get promoted and when you handle a lot of responsibility, uh, it comes with a lot of accountability as well. At the same time, your client also grows their expectation out of you because now you start holding a kind of the leadership position on that particular situation. So I have seen my approach to be switching from what it was earlier. Now I tries to be a more of the resolving and problem solving than that of contesting the matters. Because earlier, when you are a young lawyer, you always try to contest every matter, but it's not the right approach because you cannot unnecessarily make your client to spend their resources when you know that the matter is not worth spending a lot of money on that. So I have over a period of time adopted the approach of providing the cost-effective solution. I tries to find the problem-solving approach. I try to take a problem-solving approach for my client. And when I say so, I tries to assess the risk. This means that both kind of risk. It is the legal risk as well as the commercial risk. I cannot make a kind of decision which actually cost my clients unnecessarily a lot of money. So that's the most important approach that I have adopted over a period of time as being a senior. Secondly, when you do that, you also tries to save a lot of money for your client. You tries to help them understand that which are the matters which is worth spending the money and which are not actually. And this should be the also intent of a lawyer because the dispute resolution is very important. Now you don't need to go for everything to the court. You can settle, you can sit with yourself, with your other side, and you can try to resolve your cases within the boundaries of the law and without, of course, prejudicing or without compromising your client's interest and the business interest and the rights. So that's one thing. Secondly, as a senior associate, insofar as the handling the complex IP cases are concerned, again, I'm very fortunate to have the team of the people who are the very talented people and are very instrumental in terms of accomplishing any task. So it makes my job little easier. As a senior, I just need to put the right person at the right job. So that's important thing. Secondly, the timing is very important in the law, because some times are being mandated by the law, some timelines are mandated by the client. So, for example, if your client comes to you a day before product launch and asks you to provide kind of advice on the possible potential legal risk in launching that product, now you know that you have a very limited time to answer to that particular query and to advise on that particular prospect. And you cannot give the wrong advice also, because you are, a lot of things are on at stake. You are representing the tier one life, I feel, of having a lot of reputation in the market. So of course that's one thing which is non-negotiable, uncompromisable. So all that you can do is to pick the right approach. And picking right approach means you have to understand the potential and the strength of your team member. You have to understand who will be the right person for that particular right job. You have to break your entire task in very small segments. You understand that okay, these are the areas which can be handled by your support staff. These are the areas which can be handled by your young lawyer who are good at research. These are the areas that you will be handling yourself because of your own rich experience of handling such kind of the complex cases. So these are the collective efforts that you need to make, but for that, you have to understand and you have to put the entire resources at the right place. So that's how you need to understand everything.
Wow. So now let's go to your journey, academic journey as faculty of law at DU. How was it? What are the experience and memorable moments from those days?
Uh, I'll start with the Hindu college first, because that was the first thing that I started in Delhi. I was out of the school. I was the very young, of course, as a student out of the 12th, and the new city it was for me, and things were very different for me at that point of time. When I got admission in Hindu college, the things were completely starkly different than what I was having my experience in my hometown. Because here you are in the crowd of people who are from across the country, having a different culture, different style of living, different outlook toward the life, and you get to understand a lot of variation in that. So that actually was challenging in the initial year, but that really stepped my approach toward the life also. I get to understand a lot of things about the manner that you have to address yourself. It helped me hone my personality over a period of time. Uh, I interacted with a lot of people, including the professors who were from the diverse background and very thoroughly, intellectual people. So those all were the very instrumental in terms of shaping my initial career there in the Hindu college. I get to learn a lot of things from there. Uh, then when I joined the law faculty, it was again very different, because although it was in the same North Campus and within the 500 meters of the radius, but the approach was very different, because when you are in the law college, you have the people from the diverse background, because there were the people who were already the IPS officer, the IAS officer, who were also doing pursuing the law. So their knowledge and their idea of looking at the things were very different than that of me, who was just a student of the graduation. So law faculty was also very important role to play in my entire career. There was a very great professors who were academicians across the India. There were very good, practitioners from the law faculty who are at the helm of the affairs in the High Court and Supreme Court and otherwise around. So those all people were very inspiring people, and had a great role to play in my entire career.
Wow. So now my last question, how has technology helped you in your career?
Technology has also an important role, because I see that how the technology can help you resolve a lot of your issues which you generally face on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, if I have to make the work-life balance, I see that how technology is helping on that aspect also. I can give an example. Say, for example, you have to put the as a lawyer, I need to understand like, what are the timelines that I have to address or to deliver any of the work product to my client. And the timelines are, as I said, that some of the timelines are being mandated by the client, some of the timelines are mandated by the law, when you need to file some kind of the documents within a given number of the days. So I have software which help me uh, docket all those deadlines. It give you kind of calendar note every day. So you don't need to do everything manually. You get all those kind of the timelines in a very efficient manner, so that you can track that, you can prioritize your task. And technology has also helped in terms of your working. I see that how over a period of time the trademark registry has evolved itself. It has digitized its entire data, and that digitization has helped in terms of bringing the efficiency in our work. So I see that the technology has a greater role to play. Now the AI is working, AI is coming up, and they are giving you a lot of efficiency. They are giving you a lot of help in terms of problem resolving things. So that's how I see that the technology is very important.
Wow. So let's go to the next round, the personal round, and understand Anand as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years, Anand.
So, in my family, my father is a lawyer. He's a practicing lawyer in my hometown. That's Muzaffarpur. It's very famous for lychee. Then I have my two siblings. They are settled abroad. I have my wife. She's, as I said, that she's the IP counselor at the Claridge. And initial years, like was I completed my schooling from my hometown till 12th. It was a very small town, and the, the resources were not that readily available at that point of time. But then I came to Delhi and I started my graduation from the Hindu college. Then it was a law faculty that happened to me. And in my life, my grandfather has a greater role to play in terms of inspiring me, in terms of pushing me that how hard can I work. And because he was a great reader, he was a great learner in his own. Toward his latter age of life, also he was more focused. He was very hardworking. So those all things has shaped me as a person that I am right now.
Wow. Okay. So your wife is also from the same field. So do
Yeah.
you brainstorm uh, cases with your wife, and how has it affected in your in your work?
Oh, of course, it's very instrumental because I see that you cannot have all the time your colleagues around you. So something that keeps up in your mind, I mean, toward the late night or something early morning, and you want somebody to have a second opinion on that point. So she is the she is the she plays very instrumental role at that point of time because then I put my questions to her, I put my ideas, my opinion on that point, and then ask her that if it is correct to look at, or she does have some inputs to say on that point. So she definitely comes up with many other times a very new point which I would not have ever thought of, or I should have given a kind of thought back because she might come back with a kind of adversarial role, what the other side can argue, and she gives me kind of insight in that mind that we should also look at that point. So that has really helped me in that way, and I'm very thankful for that.
Wow. Okay. How does the weekend look for you, Anand?
Today I was thinking of going out because I have some of the family, uh, engagements to look at. But otherwise, I tries to go for apart from work. I tries to focus on to watching the movies or the web series because I am much fond of watching all those things. And then I tries to play badminton at some times and go out for walking and something so like that. So that's how it goes on.
Wow. Okay. Uh, from your bucket list, what would you like to do in 2024 in the remaining months in respect to personal and professional life?
On personal front, it's been a while that I have not gone outside to visit the places, so I have something to look at. I may go for that. And insofar as the professional life is concerned, now I am focusing more on on a business point of view that I tries to look because I have to look at myself in the coming years at some different positions. So I have to ensure that I can contribute to my firm, contribute to my team in terms of its growth also. And so I'm trying to build some kind of skills. I'm trying to build some sort of a new things which can help in generating the business for the firm.
Wow. Okay. How have your friends and peers contributed to your personal and professional development?
Friends have been very instrumental in my life. I am very fortunate to have a very good friends from my school time to my college time and now in my profession as well. And I personally tries to discuss my all the problems and the yeah, hurdles that I might encounter in my life with them because then they give me a lot of ideas because they know me very personally. They know that what kind of person I am, what kind of things that I can do, and what kind of things that I can't do. So they are very right person to give me an advice and to judge me that what are the good and what are not, what are bad for me. And recently also I was stuck at two or three things which I was very difficult to understand, and it was very difficult for me to take a decision on that. And my friends helped me a lot in terms of tackling that issue. And the good part is that they were, when they were advising me, they were putting their leg in my shoes. They were knowing that I have to, they have to understand from my perspective. So that's a very important thing for them. And I seek inspiration from them. They are very hardworking. They are very passionate about the. So that gives a kind of constructive competition in your mind. That gives a kind of good uh, zeal and good kind of pushing factors that keep you pushing forward in terms of your career and everything.
Wow. My last question. Describe Anand in one line.
But I can say very hardworking and one who believes in present.
Wow. Okay. So now let's have some fun. The rapid fire round. Books or podcast?
Books.
Video.
Books.
Louder, louder. You're not audible.
I'm saying books.
Okay. Which is your favorite web series?
I've just watched IBM 7. It was hijacking. It was IBM 377 or something. I don't remember the exact name, but it was.
IC 310.
Oh yeah. Yes.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
way the actors have presented.
Yeah.
Anubhav.
Good bunch of people to act in that.
Yes, good bunch of actors, your seniors.
Yes.
Okay. What's your go-to stress reliever?
Watching web series.
And your comfort food?
Comfort food, chawal dal, and there is a bhujia that we call in our place, so I feel that.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Let's face. What's the one thing you can't start your day without?
Mobile phones.
Best piece of advice you have ever received?
To work hard and be focused on the present than that of the future.
You're an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
So you did very well, Anand, and you get this book.
Thank you so much.
Six
Thank
Microsoft
you.
Word tips for lawyers. It will be delivered, autographed. And friends, it was a lovely conversation we had with Anand on a Saturday afternoon discussing IP laws, the explaining about the contentious, non-contentious matters, and now AI, how it is affecting the IP enforcement and the digital transformation, which is now coming up. So we have to be very careful, and the lawyers have to play a major role of the digital transformation, which is affecting the IP protection, enforcement, filing industry. So Anand, so you have a major role because AI is a game changer for all the industries, and you have a major role. So watch this episode. We have different episodes with different subject experts on intellectual property rights. Also, we have done episode with on patents also. So there are 200 plus episodes with different subject experts sharing their journey, sharing their expertise. If you want to be a coffee speaker, we are on LinkedIn. Check out our YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Our team will connect with you, and we would love to have you over conversation with coffee. So enjoy your Sunday, and we meet another guest speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting and it was really enriching for speaking with you.